Welcome to the Phlarpin Podcast. Phlarp stands for Park Hills Live Action Role Players. We are a medieval fantasy-themed LARP group that engages in unscripted combat against each other using padded LARP weapons and a shared combat system. We operate out of Park Hills, Missouri every Sunday from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. It is our hope here at the Phlarpin Podcast that through the utilization of this platform, we can expand on the ideas and suggestions taken from our players in order to maximize player retention and to expand our player base. The Phlarpin Podcast is made possible by support from our players and listeners like you. If you would like to support us, please visit our Patreon where you can do so for as little as $3 a month. Also, any engagement on our YouTube or Facebook pages is much appreciated, and thank you for listening. Welcome to the Phlarpin Podcast. I am really loud, and my name is Jason Smith, or North.
And I am Brandon Fraser, or Daveen Allman.
And I am Jessica, or Mercer Stitch.
And I'm Isaac, or Magnus.
Did you forget?
I have too many characters.
Has it been that long? Oh, it's because you got so many characters.
And it's been that long.
It's like a total of 2. Tough to keep track of. I get it. Where have you been?
Where have I been? Work. Hanging out with friends or my girlfriend.
Sure. You should bring her to LARP Sundays, 1 to 5, Columbia Park.
She said she would watch, but...
Yeah. That's a start.
Yeah, that's a start.
You get them there, they start watching.
I was
like,
fighting
hey.
her in the living room.
Were you?
The other day.
Was she winning?
No, she was scared. She's too scared of him. Yeah.
He doesn't beat me in the living room either.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What? Oh, yeah.
She take you out?
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
That's fair. So anyway, where do we want to start today?
I don't know. I guess we could start with the few announcements that I made at actual Phlarp today.
Sure.
Because this is some stuff that we worked on through the week. So we added loot to the Book of Abilities. This is in case somebody has printed books or whatever, or just wants to know that we, specifically defined it. We did define loot and add it to the Book of Abilities. We added an entry to Advanced Combat in the Book of Rules that is also about how to loot. And they're pretty much all the same except minor differences just because to remain consistent within whatever thing it was in.
Sure.
Then we also specifically made it so that hand armor does what we've said it should do because it wasn't written that way, which was it only works if you have a weapon in your hand. That way you couldn't just slap weapons away or whatever with just your bare hands if you had hand armor. Now if you have hand armor, you have to have a weapon in your hand or a shield in order for it to work.
Okay. Cool.
We also added or changed the entry in Assassin's Creed about loot because it didn't explain it very well, so we changed that around a little bit.
Talk about the one where you have to loot people, their cards.
Correct.
To get your own
Yes.
game.
Yeah, that game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it already had like a loot variable in it, and we were looking through the rules and stuff doing the loots, and so that came up too, so we went ahead and fixed it and changed it and made sure it matched in there with all the other instances of loot. And then we also changed turn undead to a singular person, similar to...
I said Warcry, but I haven't read that
Warcry.
ability. I just know that it works as far as runaway component, similar to Warcry. That's why I brought that up.
It does make it because we had put originally similar to taunt in that in the verbal for taunt you have to specify who it's for, whereas turn undead you don't specify, you just say it. And I think it did say maybe that it was still one person, but now you specifically have to say who the person is you're war crying.
Right. Or turning undead.
Or turning, which is the same as a turn undead. Or turn undead's the same as war cry, it's just for undead.
Yeah.
Can't use it on people that aren't undead.
Well, the description implied that it was singular person, but it wasn't specified, and there wasn't anything in the verbal that said you had to label who it was for. So that was all updated.
Right.
Cool.
And then I guess we have an announcement about Trash Bash. That's coming up.
Right. October 2nd. So this comes out Wednesday. I don't know what the date will be, but it'll be the following Monday. So.
Right. So be there for that if you want a little bit of extra XP.
Sure.
We always appreciate the help. We're off of the 32, kind of by the old mines or whatever they call it over there.
Right. So. Okay, cool. And that was all the announcements you
Yeah,
had?
that was all I had. I figured we might start doing this on a regular basis too, just to make sure that we're announcing what we announce at the game.
Sure.
So
everybody has an opportunity to hear the announcements.
Sorry, not game. The event day or whatever.
Sure.
Right. So everybody, even the people that aren't there, will be able to hear it. So.
And the Trash Bash starts at 5.
Correct.
5 p.m.
Yep.
October 2nd.
Yep.
We're all good with that?
Yep. Sounds good.
You want to get into some of these suggestions first? Just
Sure.
kind of like mix up the way we're doing things, you know?
Sure. Like to jump around. Oh, and I apologize, I guess, for last week not ending my segment with an actual question. So, but we
We'll
kind
do
of got
better
one in
this
the
time.
comment. We'll go over that here in a little bit, but yeah, I just
prepared,
wanted to
though.
apologize. I was thinking about it. Somebody else got one they want to go? I'm about to.
Go.
This one says, this is a positive one. It says, "You are all awesome and amazing people."
Cool.
And it was from a new player, I think. So cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on a not so light note, someone says dwarves smell like stinky farts.
Wow. Is that true?
I mean,
no,
depends on who you ask, I guess, you know?
Yeah, some of them are.
only if you ask this guy.
So some dwarves are stinky, like farts.
Yeah, I mean, dwarves aren't known for their hygiene, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
How often do they clean their beards? Let's start with that
Like
question.
they clean their beards.
That would almost be like offensive to a dwarf to suggest that they clean their
I
beard,
know.
wouldn't you think?
You're not supposed to.
That-
Well, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe
you
that.
keep important things in there.
I'm just saying maybe that's more accurate than you're leading
Important
on.
things.
Like stinky farts.
Yeah.
All right, this one says, when will more levels for abilities be released in the Book of Abilities? And that's not an answer that I have, so.
I'm thinking that we will probably do up to 12th level whenever we open at the property.
Right, which is
Spring of-
roughly
spring
spring
of
of
next year.
2024.
Correct.
Cool.
Yep.
Coming up.
You're up.
If someone is picking up my brown spell packets, please hand them to a marshal or me, Heston.
Okay.
I guess people
Fair
are
enough.
picking them up, and
I
not
think
giving
one
them to 'em.
went. I can't talk. One went missing today, and that was just kind of the theory. Is that somebody's taking them? So if that is the case, please don't do that.
I get it. I've had
Packets are hard to make. So
and I've had people like take throwies, and then I know they're not like they're not maliciously taking them. They're probably just trying to give them back to me or something, or give it back to somebody, but they don't end up to me.
sure,
Right.
sure, and that is a problem too. Like when a bunch of people use like the same structure as far as a throwy goes. Like I know that pattern that Reese, you, Arno were all using was a pattern that I had made, and there's a lot of throwies with the same exact pattern now. So it can be hard to differentiate.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got hammers.
She just thinks she's so cool with her hammers.
I am.
I mean, they are pretty cool.
I
so.
don't think I
threw 'em.
know I am cool with my hammers.
Did you kill anybody today with them?
Yeah, lots of people.
Did you
I
get
was
hit-
so disappointed during one of the events. I don't even remember which one it was. I watched her throw one at Trinity's back, and it just missed him. And I was like, "Dang it!"
Mm-hmm.
I did get Trinity in the back though twice today.
Did you?
Yeah,
Cool.
Throwies are his worst enemy.
It's true. It's a lot of people's worst enemies.
yeah. He's not used to me.
Without a
using them,
shield,
really.
a throw is a big
Oh, I agree.
problem.
I agree.
I got Norse with him a couple times today too.
No, that's not surprising though.
No. Is it my turn?
Sure.
Sure.
It is now.
As
It
I
would-
recall, I hit you in the face with one of them, didn't I? Was that a
Nice.
hammer?
I don't recall that because headshots don't count.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Or do you not recall?
So it
'cause
didn't
hit
happen.
You so hard, you just don't even remember.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
No, I think it bounced off my boffer actually and hit me in the face. It would be cool to advertise at places like Mac.
I agree. We've
It
done that
would.
before. It was semi-successful. We
Mhm.
should
Yeah, we
probably
got some
try that
players from
again
there.
at some point.
Hmm. I agree.
Okay, let's see what I got here.
I think we need to plan going to the Renaissance Fair as LARP
Mm-hmm.
as a group and advertise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely would be our target market.
Mm-hmm.
This says if you don't know how an ability works, please don't argue with the other person or player about it. I mean, that is true. If you don't know how an ability works, someone uses an ability on you and you're not wearing your crown, I mean, really, you need to just take a death and move on.
And probably ask somebody if you're worried about it not working the way you think or you don't understand it. Don't try to stop that person to try to get them to explain it because they're also in the middle of a battle and then they
Yeah.
might end up getting killed trying to explain the ability that it, just happened to you. So if you need to, go talk to a marshal or something about it to find out what it actually does.
Sure. And you also, I mean, just to add to this too, you can preemptively avoid this issue by knowing what the abilities are. Go read the ability book for every class, not just your own. And that way,
Right.
whenever these abilities come up, you know what they do and you don't just have to take a death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because really the death thing, I mean, it does suck, I guess, but it's meant to simplify it so that we're not sitting there. Otherwise, we'd have to stop the whole game every few minutes to explain to somebody that, may be hearing an ability for the first time
what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and to
That's
be
why we
fair,
give.
I didn't mean to cut you off there,
Oh,
but
you're fine.
I do want to point out that this happens to everyone, not just new players or whatever. Somebody was
Sure.
explaining to me an ability that they had picked up today that I didn't know about, so I need to get in there and do some refreshing as well. So this goes to everybody, including our veteran players. Like, if you think you know the abilities, you probably don't.
Yeah.
So
Also during campaign and just downtime, anybody that has an ability doesn't have a problem explaining to people how it works.
True.
So
They would rather probably know how it works so that they can
Yeah.
use it for what they meant to use it for instead of it just killing you.
Right.
Oftentimes they're meaning to do something else with it.
you're up.
This one says RP during campaign.
This
which
is
kind of subjective.
This is a note I kind of put in there, and just so that we could all discuss it. Let me ask you, since you're not really privy to anything that's going on here. How does roleplay work in Phlarp?
Roleplay.
Like, if meaning, let's say you have a scenario where you want to like punish a guy because he did something you didn't like, and he's agreed to it, you've agreed to it, you're both are cool with it, and you're gonna like set it up and go do it. How does that work?
Well, I mean, if you've already agreed on it and agreed on like the terms and stuff and what you're doing, I mean, you just do it basically. Like, it's not.
What about people that are outside of those agreements?
Then don't do anything to actually like. They don't even really physically touch them unless they like understand what you're doing. Like.
What I mean is, if you
Like,
have a
you mean like-
scenario,
I'm going to jump in on this if you.
go ahead if you can help me.
Yeah. So basically, what he's saying is like we don't have set RP.
No,
Like
there's not
you have to
scripted.
have the ability to improv at any given moment. So if you and I have this bit worked out and somebody else comes and jumps into it, we just got to roll with it.
Yeah. You
We
just do it.
can't just like exclude that person from the role play because we are an improv group.
It's like an open.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter what we have worked out. If somebody else wants to get involved, they can.
Yeah. I've done that before.
Right. Or like, let's say me and you have a problem, and we're like, well, we'll just take this outside the tavern.
Sure.
And then we go out the tavern, and then
Somebody else kills
could
us.
run in and just stab us. Yeah. Or
that's
Yeah.
something you just got to roll with.
And you just gotta,
Right.
you just gotta like accept it.
or
and
hire
happen.
guards to make sure that you can.
Right.
There's a lot of options. I think the
Work out
point is
your
just that
role-play.
it's improv. Like you
Right.
can't
Yeah, it
set
just
something and
happens.
expect it to go the exact way you expect it to go. It doesn't work like that.
Oftentimes it doesn't.
Is there any scenario where you would get abilities that you would normally get?
No.
Mm-mm.
No,
Okay.
No.
not that I know of.
Okay.
Unless. But that wouldn't.
And that's been
you
like
could
traditionally
roleplay it,
that's how
but-
we do it, but I guess it's not really written down anywhere. And part of bringing this up was also to say that like I think I'm going to try this week to define it and make sure that we have like an actual defined like rules about
Sure.
about the way the role play works. Or
So like
whatever.
I don't even mind talking about what happened today because I was a little confused, which you may have picked up on. You know, basically Mercer Stitch was taken outside of the tavern.
Oh, yeah.
She was shackled, put in a chair, supposedly shackled to the chair. I don't know how that works. It was beyond me at
I
that
let
point.
him do it, yeah.
And I was like, well, like I was asking, do we need an ability to break this? Like, am I wasting my time being here because there's not an ability that breaks this shackle?
Mm-hmm.
What was my question? And then you basically answered by like, no, we can do this, which made me understand either we were going to work outside of the rules or there was a
Right.
way. Either way, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to continue to go fight.
Right.
But without, like, I wanted to know what the game mechanic was there.
Mm-hmm. And it would have been difficult to explain because part of the problem was I was stalling to give them a more chance to fight you guys some more.
That's fair.
But also I was the one who put like for money. This is all out of game,
Right.
I guess. But I mean, I don't really care that if it's in game anyway. But they had paid me to use that ability on her to shackle her, so I was the one who put her in the shackle. So I was kind of expecting people at some point to be like, "Why are we letting him work on the lock to unshackle her if he's the one that put her in it?" Which you tried to say something to some people, and
Yeah.
Vix actually stood up for me and was like, "No, it was Thyra," because Thyra was kind of admitting to it too, because she was the one that went and got her, like originally when got you to take you over there.
So
And,
like, let me ask you this, because I know this is kind of cut
so
off.
once they killed me and looted me,
Yeah.
once they killed me, they realized I just decided to go ahead and just like kill a bunch of them. That way they could get the idea that I was kind of the heel in this situation. And then once I did that and I ran out and then I got killed, as soon as they looted me, I said, "You get a piece of paper that has 3 zeros on it," so that they would know how to go up and unlock the lock to get her out of the shackle.
Okay.
But I didn't have necessarily all that planned out when I started doing it.
Right.
I
Well,
kind of
because
rolled with it.
because he handed me, it was me. I'm the one that got to him eventually,
Oh, okay.
and he handed me a copper, and I was like, like, what's the combination to the thing? He's like, oh, you want a piece of paper that says 0000 on it? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. And he was
Right.
like, I was like, you know what? No, never mind. And I just like went up there and did it.
Oh, okay.
But I was a little confused. But now that I understand everything, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and the only reason I was doing it that way is because nobody did in game have the ability to get her out, and she would have been just stuck there.
Yeah.
Which technically, like you said, they within the game you should have been able to move her with the shackle. It wouldn't have did us any good, but we'd have had her back in town. She'd just been shackled basically.
Right.
So. But-
Okay.
So it would have worked out better if somebody actually had the ability. We were kind of today. It was a little confusing, and maybe we're circumventing this rule a little bit, or like maybe this won't happen again like this. It'll almost have to be legit, like,
Right.
if they're gonna shackle her and get her out
So
of the shackle.
so how's that work as far as story or role play, where the problem is coming from the marshals and the chancellor? Like, that sounds pretty sus to me. I mean,
Well, I don't know. I mean, nobody really asked me in character about it too much. They just was like, you're a traitor or whatever. But my argument in game was to be like, well, it's making us money. Like, as a whole, we're making money off this. So even though they're doing it as a way to like get at us or whatever, really, I just looked at it like, oh,
So how
well,
much did they pay you for me?
Yeah.
2 copper.
That's all I'm worth?
Yeah, I
That's
tried to get
crazy.
more, but I should have probably bargained for more. But
so I had a conversation with Mercer Stitch later on about how it was you, and she explained it to me and whatever. I mean, how's that work as far as Daveen? If he's like, I'm not cool with this. I don't want to jive with these people that are doing evil stuff.
I don't know.
Maybe North is evil.
Well, and the cherry on the cake was that he exiled me from town because I told everybody it was him that shackled me.
Yeah. And to be fair,
true.
last week he exiled me just so he could stab me and loot me. I'm getting a little concerned about where the head of our little town is right now.
You've been hanging out with
And
Trinity.
Thyra was clearly involved too. There was at least 2 traitors today.
here's what I'm thinking. Okay.
We don't care what you think.
Yeah, now you're beyond the point of.
What if I'm doing this, because I know that here in the future, we're going to be trying to go a little deeper into the woods around Darvishan and go a little, further on, because when we go to property, we're going to change the way that the campaign and all that works. So what if in-game, I'm challenging you guys, I'm trying to challenge you guys and make sure that we're ready,
It's like training.
just getting you ready, prepping you.
Sounds like a traitor speech
Yeah.
to me.
And I'm
No.
making just a little bit of money on the side.
That's what I would say if I
Here's
was
what I'm going to
making
say.
money.
I'm going to say that we'll address this next week
Okay.
in game,
All right.
because I don't
In-game? Okay.
I don't think Daveen would be too happy about all this.
No.
All right.
I don't like your forked tongue, sir.
Are
Okay.
we? I guess we haven't gone through all this. Who's
Speaking
up?
of-
Nope. I'll go. Can't deliver damage with 2 weapons in one hand.
Oh my, here's another whole
What?
thing.
Ooh,
Okay.
sorry.
So
What is this about?
Okay, so originally when I changed the rule from 2 weapons in one hand, it's me, I let up off of it. I changed the rule from 2 weapons per hand instead of in each hand. I changed it.
What?
At some point, I changed the rules from you can carry 1 weapon in each undamaged hand or
Okay.
item
Right?
into you can carry a weapon per undamaged hand. This is my thinking. When you're standing around in campaign, you're not doing nothing, and you're just standing there and you're holding both your weapons in your hand. If somebody comes up to you and they go to make an attack on you, you should be able to defend yourself. At the very least, defend yourself, and it not be like, well, that don't count because you got 2 weapons in that hand. If I go and try to defend myself against somebody and I successfully block it, I think that should block it. I don't think I should have to take that and be like, well, that didn't count because you had 2 weapons in that hand, so your arm's gone.
Okay, that's fair. Let me
So-
ask you this though.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah, let me ask you this though. How does that work when, let's say I'm out in campaign, I've killed someone, I'm going to loot them. Can I put my sword in my shield hand and use my free hand to loot, or do I still have to drop my sword?
Good question. Don't you have to have a free hand? Your hand would be free.
The hand has to be free, but that would still violate, I think, the 3. You would have to drop it.
Would that be considered like a third item or something sort of?
Sort of. You're doing something with your hands that you couldn't be able to do with a total of 2.
Could we make that?
So are you saying it should damage your arm if you have 2 swords?
I don't
Because
care.
all I was going to say was
That's the reality. I don't care. Actually, I will tell you that this literally happened to me today,
Yeah.
where I went out and I attacked Trinity because he was making a mockery of the town, and he had 2 swords in one hand, and he defended with it, and I allowed him to do it.
Right.
So
see,
I already do that. I don't care.
so you
I mean, I
don't-
killed him,
Okay.
but
with a sword in both.
he had
'Cause
2
I-
swords in one hand, and he was like blocking them like it was a double
While he
lightsaber.
was looting.
But does it not do damage? Is that
No,
what
not
you
while
were
he was
saying?
looting. It had
Well,
nothing to do with loot.
I haven't
it,
got to that yet, but
it only has to do with the scenario you brought up. He had 2 swords in one hand
Mhm.
when I attacked him. He had no other items.
And he was looting.
No,
No.
there's nothing to do with loot.
oh, okay.
Okay.
And I attacked him, and I allowed him to defend with 2 swords in one hand.
Okay.
That's all I was saying, and I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay, because what I was gonna say was what I think would be a good like compromise to this is to just say you can defend yourself, like you can't attack, you
Right.
can't deliver damage.
That
while
is a
you've
good
got
compromise. I'm
But,
okay with
but
that.
if you are in a situation where you've got 2 weapons in your hands, it doesn't like go through the weapons and kill you or whatever, or hurt your arm.
Okay.
Something like that.
I
Would
like
be
that.
Good? What were you about to say? Were you about to say something else?
No, that's what I was gonna say. Is that I think that blocking or defending yourself is fine, but not deliver damage.
And not in a loot scenario. So if you're looting, you have to just have one weapon
Yeah.
defending yourself with, or attacking, or whatever. I think that sounds good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Can I talk about an ability idea or is
No.
that- no?
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
What if we make right like I don't
Into
know,
the
I-
mic.
I don't know what class it'd be, like maybe rogue, where you can loot if you have 2 weapons in one hand.
Whack.
Whack.
I don't think you can make. Personally, I don't like the idea of making abilities that go outside of the game rules. So
Okay.
like Kingslayer, for instance. I'm not a big fan of Kingslayer. I don't want anybody ever trying to grab my sword. It seems like a terrible idea. But I know that it exists. But that's my opinion on it. Is that I don't think you should make like abilities that go outside of like regular
Mhm.
game mechanics.
Okay, I see what you mean.
But
It
that's
was-
just
it
me.
was just a thought, anyways. So
Yeah, I mean, and I actually agree with this as a whole because
Or like if you had an ability, like even if you didn't have an arm. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait.
I was gonna say I agree with this as a whole. I don't even like the idea that I proposed because I feel like if you open that gate, then people are gonna like rogues that have throwies are gonna argue that they could put 2 swords in one hand and throw a dagger, and I don't want nothing to do with that. It's already bad enough. 2 swords in throwies is like terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to drop a sword to throw or use 1 sword in general, that to me is a lot more manageable than them having 2 dual wielding and throwing at the same time. So at least they have to drop a sword and throw, drop a sword and throw. Because putting
Mhm.
2 swords in one hand is technically illegal with a throwy as well.
okay, because it'd be a 3rd item.
But if they had Fan of Knives, they'd just be able to do that.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'd pay for it because they get the ability.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay.
Well, and
What
I
ab-
mean, even with that rule though, if you're only defending, then if you have 2 swords in one hand, you couldn't throw a throwy anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like my scenario that I brought up was that you should, well, I didn't even say you should, but that you could potentially loot with 2 items in one hand. To me, the throwy thing's the same thing. Basically, it's like trying to use a 3rd hand, kind of. And so I don't necessarily like that. So I kind of, I actually agree with the whole. If you have 2 items in one hand, you can defend, but that's it.
Can't
I
deliver
like
damage.
it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Did you have a thought that you wanted to add to this, or
No, I think I covered everything that I wanted to say. about
cool?
it. Makes
Is
sense
that
to me.
my up here?
I'll change it in the rule book, I guess, this week. Then maybe I can read it next week and you can see what you guys think.
This question says, does the crown of ancient nullification also negate Achilles' heel?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Achilles' heel just wouldn't apply to somebody basically that wears the ancient crown of nullification.
Mhm.
Because they wouldn't know what Achilles' heel is the idea.
Right. There you go.
Something else too, and I think we should maybe start this again. It's a little confusing because when I added it in the book of abilities, there's not a good place to put it unless I put it in under every single class. So I had to put it under Squire. But I think Squires shouldn't be able to loot or be looted. So that, like, basically one of the benefits of getting out of Squire is the ability
Looting.
to loot. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
But
Add
do
it
they not
up.
have to loot the
Make a note.
ogre to be able
They have to loot the ogre, but
That's we could make that a
That's
separate
different.
thing.
they can't loot other players.
Yeah.
I'm even fine with them looting monsters, I guess. But
And they would
before
have to
they
loot-
couldn't, right? They couldn't do any of that, right?
They would have to loot for
I don't
certain
know.
games too, but you can't loot just like in campaign.
Other PCs.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want some context here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to say who. Yeah. I'm not going to say who. right? Because that would ruin the fun.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody at LARP, I told him, I handed him half that piece of paper, and I said, I want you to write something clever. And that was the response.
Something this clever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty clever, huh?
Yeah, it's something clever.
Why did I
Clever.
put this? I thought I put something very clever.
You put something this clever.
Something this clever.
I think
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Cool.
And you ruined it because you told everybody who it was.
Yeah,
That's right.
goofball.
I think I put.
You got the last one? Go ahead, Mercer.
Is this not me?
this guy.
Yeah, but you were doing something.
Good day, Flarpers. Fun battles. It's good to be back. I don't know who that is, but we're glad to have you back.
I know who
cool.
it is, but also, I agree.
I
It was a good time. Good battles. Well, are you guys ready for it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
What are we ready for?
Daveen's
Corner!
I didn't know. So.
Wow, way to go.
What do you know?
It's all right. We were loud enough to cover for you, but you should probably watch the podcast every now and then.
Yeah. Make that a thing. All right. Here's my first joke. I was at the dentist the other day, and he says to me, "This might sting a little bit. Are you prepared?" I said yes. He then went on to say, "I'm sleeping with your wife."
Okay.
Wow.
I thought it was funny. All right. A man walks into the psychiatrist's appointment wearing nothing but cling film.
He's probably in the right place.
The psychiatrist takes one look at him and says, "Well, I can clearly see your nuts." And that was
Daveen's Corner.
Okay. We got anything else going on?
Well, I guess we got like what, the recap and
Yeah. I do have some recap stuff on here. I think it was sent to the Marshall's chat, maybe? One of the chats.
yeah, I have some too. I have it somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is, right here. So it looks like we did the costume contest today.
Mm-hmm.
It was
In third place, I believe was...
I see it now.
Rofer.
Roford.
Yes, Roford finished in third. Joseph finished in second. And Trinity, in a very interesting costume, finished in first. So congratulations to
interesting.
those three specifically, and then everyone else that just was in it.
There was a 5-way tie, though, for second.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
For
We had to do
second
a double
place?
vote or like two votes. We almost had to do.
It was like first place, and then there was 5 people that were all tied right after that.
Wow.
So we wound up having to do another vote.
It's true. Which we did. And then we came up with the names that we just listed.
Wow.
Yep. So
Um,
thank you to everybody that entered in the costume contest.
You're welcome.
Last Man Standing was next.
And third in that was Torvald. Second was Heston. And first was Daveen.
Firepower.
Okay.
That was one of them that I hit Trinity in the back.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No problem.
What's funny is I typically don't go out of my way to avoid anyone during Last Man Standing, but I had told myself beforehand that there was 2 people that I was going to try to avoid during that fight, and fortunately other people took them out for me. So
And one of them was Trinity.
one of them was Trinity. Yeah, like one disarm and I'm basically done. And then Vix is the other one. I have basically no chance of beating Vix right now. Her packets are crazy. I cannot believe the packets at that low level are that strong. I mean, she's got disarm packets at level 1.
Disarm packets?
Disarm packets.
Packets that
Packets that disarm.
My. No, thank you.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do they have to hit a weapon?
I mean,
Or can they just
does
hit,
it hit a shield?
No, I think it's anything.
anything?
But a shield,
Oh
like you said, a
my.
shield's not hard to
Yeah.
hit anyway.
No.
So,
I think if it, like, hits you in the
and then you
meat-
have to spend the time taking it off, and she's just
well, for mine, I've got it to where I can just like sling it off, but yeah, it's still a pain.
Shield.
It's just a strong level 1 ability. Very strong. But
She got
neither
me
here nor
right
there.
in
Anyway, point is I avoided those 2 people, and thank the Lord somebody else took them out. That's the only reason I was able to win that one.
Well, then it got down to there was only like 5 people left, and I was like, well, okay, let's do this.
Oh
Daveen.
yeah, she came at me actually.
Yeah. Everybody was just standing around, just kind of like staring at each other. I was
I
like,
was
yeah, let's
I
do
was
this.
trying to figure out how I wanted it to go down,
Well,
because I do that sometimes. I'm like, all right, I want him to fight him, and I want him to fight him, so I don't have to fight him. You know?
That's what I
Yeah.
do. Except I also run, so.
Yeah, I don't really run. So like if somebody comes at me to fight me, I'm gonna have to fight them.
Yeah, I just came in hot because I figured I got like a 1 in 8 chance that I'm gonna win. We'll just see what happens.
You need to have more confidence
No,
in
it's
that.
probably like more than that.
If there's 5 people, you had a 1 in 5 chance, 20%.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I even tried
Especially
throwing
with
a hammer.
throwies.
I tried
Yeah.
throwing a hammer up so that he would like dodge it or whatever. It didn't work.
Heston got me on that once.
Yeah.
Really?
I think he
Probably where
tried
you
that
learn
again.
that little move.
Didn't he try that again today?
Not on me.
Oh, I thought at some point he did try that.
Not on me. He might have done it to somebody else though.
Mm.
But she did. And at one point I even like acted like I was looking at it. Like it was kind of funny.
It's alright. I still had fun.
Yeah, me too. Patrol was next. This says there was 30-ish people with 2 new players. Wilson and then to be announced. She didn't have
Yeah.
a name yet, but
Mhm.
somebody that you knew.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was actually my boss at my work, so pretty cool.
I actually
That's cool.
it's
She came out.
It's funny you bring this up because I overheard a conversation with Pius and her and a couple other people,
Mm-hmm.
and they were asking how long she had known you, and she's like, "Oh, well, not that long, you know, like we worked together." And he's like, "Oh, you guys work at the work at the vet together?" And she's like, "Yeah, like off of Weber Road." Never mentioned anything about being your boss or anything like that. I
Mhm.
thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
So she
Just as
was
like a coworker.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Ditch. This is kind of
Like Monster Ditch.
yeah. We've been playing that kind of a lot lately.
It's a cool game. It's easy to roleplay too as a monster, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
you don't have to think of a character or anything. You just play a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Who did the monsters win this, or was it the humans? I guess it was the monsters that won.
think it would be the monsters. Yeah.
The humans need more work.
Whatever.
This
more
is a
It
practice.
was
little
Trinity's side.
difficult to read.
Did,
What?
it was
Yes,
Trinity's
you're right.
side.
Okay, so-
did he play the monsters or the heroes?
Yeah, he played monsters. So
Oh,
the
okay.
original monster team that won was Yi Futin, our new player, TBA, Joseph. I think that says Mercer.
Yeah. Mercer.
Wilhelm, Torvald, Aridin and Pora, and then of course the captain was Trinity. And then later on in the game they did add Reese because Reese and Vix joined the game a little late on that one. And that was Ditch. And I think that went pretty well too.
Yeah,
so-
I think so too. We even played an extra one that we couldn't have possibly won.
Right.
And we were just doing it for fun, I guess. So.
And we were close.
You
So-
did it just because why not though?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else want to take this one?
Yeah, and then we played a couple rounds of Pandemic Panic. Looks like the first round, the infected won. The zombies won each time. The first time, the starter zombies were Yi Futin, Trinity.
That's it.
I say Ann Wilson.
It
Oh,
says
'cause we
Ian
were
Wilson,
gonna-
but he wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
And then the second one, the starting zombies were Iridan and Heston.
And that one went a lot faster than the first round. The
Yeah, it
first round, they had roughly 30 seconds left. That was
Mhm.
basically it.
Wow.
The second round, they finished in less than 3 minutes.
Right.
So there's a big difference there.
And shout out to Aragon too. He survived like a long time. Iridan did survive in the last of the first game,
Right.
but his was a little bit different. They started walking off the field, didn't realize that he was still alive. Aragon was like just alive, and then he, like when he knew there was like so many of them that they were going to start honing in on him, he killed as many as he could, and then kind of like tried to get his back to him, and then they all killed him. But
Right.
he was the last surviving human on the last game. So
I like Pandemic Panic. I think a lot about what we could do to improve the game. I haven't come up with much. So I like Pandemic Panic.
I always like.
I think a formula based on like if you could get like a formula, it would be easier to figure out like how many people are playing and you give them like all so many seconds or something. But I know that sometimes that's hard because people are different skill levels.
Sure.
So if you have different starting zombies compared to other ones, it may not, you may need to shorten the timer as opposed to making it
Sure.
longer. But
I've thought about that. I think maybe whether it be next week or whenever we play this again or fight in this event again, I think maybe we reduce the time by a minute at least. Like start at like 4.5, and then at 4 minutes you do final wave and try that. Because if we would have done that, then it would have split today. The humans would have won once, the zombies would have won once.
okay.
So
that was kind of what I was thinking is maybe we need to start writing down how long they took versus how many people. But that makes sense.
Sure.
So
We moved. We had already set up for Pandemic Panic. The setup for Pandemic Panic and Jailbreak, which is another game that we do. The setup's basically the same, so we just rolled into Jailbreak on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And we played 2 rounds of that, or fought in 2 rounds of that.
Mm-hmm.
Round 1 looks like Aridin, Heston, and Joseph won, and then in round 2, the same exact team won, which was Aridin, Heston, and Joseph again. So congratulations to them. They kind of kicked everybody's butt.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised at that too, because like we played in the second one. Well, we played in the first one too, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember much.
It was
of the first one.
The first one. Didn't we do better in the first one? We fought them at the very end of the first one.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then I was thinking that was that's the one I'm thinking of. Is I guess the first one.
Yeah. So for some context, basically somebody, I don't remember who it was, basically called out the marshals and was like, "Oh, why don't you two?" It was me and you originally. It was just North and myself, Daveen. And they were like, well, why don't you guys play, and you guys basically get your butts kicked. And we're like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And I was like, well, we need a third. And then Eric ran over. Eric was going to participate with us, or did. But unfortunately, we're not able to get a dub, as the kids say.
Right.
You get an L.
We took L's.
It was down to just us, and like we didn't have to fight much in that one though. We just kind of like walked around.
No, it almost seemed like people were kind of like intimidated to come near us. I mean, you were on a different team. What was the thought process from your team?
Because they were all like running.
I actually didn't play in that game, but I watched. I think that you guys, a lot of your strategy, what it looked like to me, was to block people.
Yeah, we did that in the first one for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like people weren't necessarily engaging with you, but you were also going after people that were trying to get their teammates out. So,
well, we had decided before we started in that particular event that was our plan. We were just gonna basically be chaotic and go around and not let anyone get their stuff back. And then in that first event, it just kind of happened to where it came down to 3v3, and we didn't have to worry about it.
I feel like I guess it's maybe just people's strategies, but I feel like that game would last longer if people would be able to actually utilize the getting them out of jail, which the second round, I think they were doing that a lot more. Maybe it was the first round.
Was it the first round or the second round that I pulled both you and Eric out?
I can't remember which one it was, but because I think I'm like getting them conflated, but it was one of those.
So the way this game works,
it just sucks when everybody dies and goes to the jail and that's
it's just over.
Yeah.
It's not the point of the game.
When you don't have people like fighting to get people out.
So in one of our games, basically we got kind of pinched, is what happened, by 2 teams, and I was able to escape. I don't know how, but I did. I think another team came to get involved because there was teams fighting, which makes sense. And when those teams got involved, I just kind of scooted out the back, and I was able to get our 2 people back, but we still weren't able to win on that one, sadly.
Yeah. I always think Jailbreak is interesting with the strategy, because like depending on like what you play and stuff, some people, like when I play Jailbreak and I'm a rogue, I let the 2 people res, and I say I'm gonna go distract the people that are trying to like get people out of the jail, and I'll just throw throwaways at them.
Sure.
Then they can't. They're too like scared to, and then we can get our person out or whatever.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. If I had some kind of range, I would probably do the same exact thing. Which I don't know if we've ever talked about this or not, but how is the jail supposed to work? Is there supposed to be like a wall, or like if I had range, would I be able to throw through the jail to get to somebody? Like, that's not. I don't know if that's anything that's ever come up.
I mean, I know it works differently in that you can talk to the person. I've never really thought about a ranged weapon going over the jail and then like, you know,
like
still hitting somebody.
Because like, let's say,
like if I shoot an arrow, even
Magnus is there, and there's a team on the other side that's about to res somebody. Does he have an opportunity to throw a dagger to stop it, or is it just like you got to get around?
I would say you have to go around. I think that's too.
That it's like a wall.
Yeah.
That's going up.
It's like a wall. And even if there was, for instance, like windows in the wall, it's still, you wouldn't be able to throw through it.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to throw through it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, definitely not.
Well, but I also think for like safety purposes, like it leaves it open for people to get hit in the head too easy, in the face and stuff. Like when there's people in the jail and you're trying to throw through it.
I definitely see that for bows because they shoot a lot harder than throwies. But if you're gonna do it for bows, you have to kind of do it for throwies too. So
yeah.
So yeah, I would say probably not go over the wall of the jail. The wall of the jail is like
fair enough.
What if you throw it straight up? No, I'm kidding. There's a roof too.
Like
No,
lawn
it goes
darts?
all the way up
Yeah.
to the
This kid's crazy.
space.
Oh, okay. It's like okay.
Straight to space, just like Ludacris in the last Fast and Furious movie.
Mm.
In case anybody remembers that.
Good tie-in.
Yeah. Last event was another last man standing. Looks like Aragon finished in third, Heston finished in second, and Valnir finished in first.
Congrats.
So congrats to all those people that placed.
The last man.
The last
Standing.
man standing.
Is it though?
For
Today.
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that was recap. We've done recap. We've done suggestion box.
You
Done
got your
Daveen's
segment
corner.
ready?
My segment.
No, I'm joking.
nuh-uh.
I guess it's time for
North's
Responses.
You didn't know about that one either, did you?
No, I haven't watched the podcast.
Yeah, we know. So when are you coming
Shame.
back? We can talk about that for a second while he's bringing this up.
I don't know yet.
You gonna
I'm
come back
still-
when we go to property?
Oh yeah, property. I will definitely be on board for property.
Okay.
I'll play every weekend I can for property. Property is definitely like, I appreciate property. Like property would be when I would come back.
What was the conversation like with you and your lord whenever you decided you weren't gonna come back for a while?
Well, I basically just said, hey, I might not come back for a little bit. I'm taking a break, and then he said me too, and then we haven't talked since then. And I
Well,
just
he's still there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got kicked out of the clan from what I know.
Oh,
So,
well,
'cause of the whole merge thing.
Sure. They did have a limited amount of spots.
Yeah.
They probably did get stronger though.
hmm
Full clan now, right?
Yeah, I think so. They got Vix and didn't they combine with? didn't-
Yeah, Chaos Company and you'll have to tell me the name of your prior clan.
It was
Acolytes,
Acolytes of-
Acolytes of Hyperius. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they decided to merge, and I don't actually know what their current name is, but I think it's Acolytes of something.
Yeah, I wonder
Chaos.
I
Is
wonder
it Acolytes of Chaos?
Oh,
That kind
okay.
of makes sense.
Did they change their symbol or anything, or
You know, I don't know.
I don't know. That's fair. I think
Yeah, I don't know about that either, too. I was curious about that.
They'd
actually.
probably do whoever had them. I don't know, because you have to pay for all new stuff.
I know, obviously, Reese stayed Lord.
Mhm.
Chaos Company kind of merged with the Acolytes of Hyperius. And I think that they're a much stronger clan now, especially Vix. Vix is, like, real strong right
Really
now.
strong, yeah.
Yeah, that respec really worked out in her favor.
Gregor respect today too.
I am aware of that, but I didn't want to necessarily tell the world that
Mhm.
before he got an opportunity to
Introduce that.
show his new abilities.
Well, I mean, he was playing with them today. He was talking about it on the battlefield.
Uh,
Well,
well,
So if nobody was supposed to know, sorry.
yeah. They don't know what class he
happens.
switched to, so it's okay.
yeah, that's true.
No.
You didn't say that.
It's correct.
Sorry if you felt like I got on to you
Maybe
there.
he
That's okay.
respect into halfling rogue.
A halfling, dwarf,
Yeah.
tailor.
Mm-hmm.
Fart smelling.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So anyway,
Listen,
you got these North responses
I'm
ready
trying
to
to
go?
pretend like I didn't hear any of that stuff. You guys are making it real difficult, okay?
Mm,
Okay. Let me try harder. This comment comes from. Let's see. What
Come
was
on.
the question? What did the question end up being?
look, his question's on there. You're gonna find Chris's question, but it basically was like, what would you like to see more on the podcast?
I would really like to see. Oh, this is not that.
You need some help?
Because I realize now that I wouldn't be reading some of these because they're not actually answers to the
Right.
question, so they're just about other stuff.
Which,
Mm.
when we went through and gave everybody credit for the podcast answers, we did separate that, Mercer and I, just so you know.
Correct.
Oh, so did you guys look at these
Yes,
enough to know whether they were answers or not?
correct.
Did you get very many?
No.
Okay, makes sense.
There's not very many answers to the actual question.
Oh yeah, now I see Chris's actual question. With no question, Eric basically asking the same question in the comments. How about the answer, the question from the viewers? Oh, okay.
That's from Valnir. He just decided not to answer the question and ask a new question. So I kind of I think we gave him credit for it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
I didn't answer his
Are we trying
question.
to figure out what the actual
Do you want me
question
to
was?
ask it?
I know what the question was. It was, what would you like to see added to the podcast that we're not
Oh,
currently
okay.
doing?
And we're trying to see what people said about that.
Right. Well, he
Okay.
is. He's taking a while to do
Yeah.
it, but
Well, I didn't realize that it was going to be this
Did I see
complicated,
North's
but
feet?
I had it ready. I like the idea of playing more games on the podcast. Oh, that's you.
That's
I
me.
think it
I said
makes it
that.
a lot more fun for the viewers. Cool. Do you think like people liked the Squire thing that I did?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
If I like organized it a little bit better and made sure that I wasn't like asking yes and no questions and things like that.
Sure. I'm sure they did. It was somewhat entertaining. I think all the games that we play, whether it be Two Truths and a Lie, or Would You Rather, or whatever we decide to do, like I think all those games are fun, and I think it makes it a little more entertaining for the people listening to the podcast.
This says this is from
You need some help?
Heston. Yeah, it's from Heston. It says, for the podcast content, if that's the question, I'd like to see more 1v1s. I'd like to see more 1v1s for sure. Those were fun content to be in. Another thing, I mean, I guess that's not really necessarily podcast content, but
It is. It's what he plays. He's probably talking about what he plays. Is that what he's talking about? Like what he's playing when you're watching the podcast?
oh, maybe he's talking about for the video in the background that you're watching.
We used to do shorts too that were 1v1s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some of those were pretty big. Like the one, I think it was the one with me and
They were very, very popular on our TikTok,
yeah, one of them
which
hit
we
like
haven't done
1,000.
anything with.
Mm-hmm. And then it says, I think it would be really cool, would be like a throwback special episode for the podcast discussing how Phlarp started and its early history. This is still Heston. Would make for a great Patreon exclusive episode. Could have a few guest players who have been around for a long time on it. I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I guess that's about it. Did you guys get more than that out of actual answers on the question? Am I missing something here?
No, I think that was about it.
I mean, I know it was kind of our fault because we failed on
Right,
getting
for
the question.
providing a question.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
So-
But yeah, that's basically what we had this week as far as North's responses go.
Okay, well, while we're thinking about it, like and subscribe. And we're going to ask the other question. What's the other question you got up over there?
The question this week is, who is your favorite fictional character and what class would they play?
Ooh.
Okay.
Can we go multi-class? Is there a level cap?
Nope.
I mean, let's not be ridiculous, right?
Like,
We're
you-
talking
how
about a
many
fictional
abilities do we
character.
know?
Yeah, but what if I pick like Batman, right? Is he multi-class?
He's a rogue.
He's
warrior.
clearly a rogue, yeah.
He's not a
Could be-
warrior or
He
something?
could be like a rogue warrior. Yeah. He
That-
doesn't
What
use
makes
the
him a
shield.
warrior? He's just a rogue.
Yeah, he's just a
He's
rogue.
just a rogue.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. You're right. He doesn't really use. Yeah.
No one use Batman. Or do. And we'll have a debate as
Yeah.
to what class you think
And
he
then
is.
your opinion about your fictional character will be wrong.
Yeah, no one
Okay.
can have a correct opinion.
No, there's no wrong answers.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, geez. At least we didn't forget the question this week.
And that's been
North's
Responses. That was so loud.
It was a little loud. Do you want this? Are we going?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We're gonna. Oh wow! Everybody heard that.
That's okay.
Bing bong. That's somebody's face.
That's my daughter's face.
So you have something prepared? Is that what we're going with here?
I do. So you said you wanted a game, and I actually prepared this a long time ago, and we just never did it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Is it good?
So, Yep. It's a never have I ever.
Perfect.
This is a Mercer
Oh, no.
Stitch segment.
I'm a little nervous.
don't
Are
need a
these like some raunchy questions? Because I might fail.
Yeah, you're probably gonna fail.
Great.
Yeah. Are you ready for?
Wait,
the
hold on.
question?
I got another question. Follow-up question before you start.
Okay.
With these never have I ever, do we get an opportunity to explain, or is it just like, yes, I have, no, I haven't?
You can explain.
Okay,
Are
cool.
we all doing this?
Can we get
Yeah.
a
Oh,
Can we get a
no.
refresher on the rules for this?
She's going to ask you, never have I ever, and you're going to have to say, I have done that, or I have not done that.
Okay.
So you're going to raise your hand if you have done it.
Mm.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah?
Yep.
Does that sound good?
All right. Never have I ever broken someone else's weapon.
Like intentionally or just at all?
At all.
I feel like I might have.
I've done that.
I think I've done it.
I probably have. Yeah.
Not intentionally, to be
Right.
clear, but I have done that.
Right.
Would
I would
anyone
say I
else like to
think I have
give their
done it.
explanation?
I don't want to give any explanation, no.
Okay.
I can't even remember exactly the scenario where I did it, but I'm just assuming over the years that I have like been messing with somebody's weapon and broke it. I actually can't remember an actual instance of doing
And
that,
also
but
to-
I'm sure it happened.
To be fair, back when we first started this, weapons were a lot more fragile than they are now.
Hmm.
Like people would make some crazy stuff and like make super long weapons with like random bends in it and stuff. Like it just wasn't super solid.
Oh, I
I
know
don't
I've
know.
broken.
Didn't you break a shield not too long ago?
Yeah, that was that was Raven's. It wasn't my shield. Yeah, I asked to borrow it, which is what, to be fair, why I don't like people borrowing my things for the same exact
Mhm.
reason. And I was like, hey, I need a shield. Can I borrow it? He's like, of course you can. Basically, long story short, I went out there to use it and it just broke,
Yeah.
and kind of in a bad way too. So,
Mm.
but I think we were able to fix it. I think
Yeah.
so.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I've
the
done
only
that.
one that hasn't done that. Does that
I've
mean I'm
broken
winning?
people's weapons and testing them for how like strong
You
they
haven't
are or
played as
whatever.
long.
Have
like,
you really?
Like not like bending them this way, but like doing different things to them that end up breaking them, and I'd be like, well, then that wasn't me good enough. Sorry.
I mean, you're not wrong though.
No, yeah.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the next one?
Oh yeah.
Worn a store-bought Halloween costume to LARP.
To LARP?
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole.
I've never,
Not me.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you consider store bought? Like some of it store
Like
bought,
you-
Hold
or
on.
just like all of it.
Time out.
No, I mean
I would like to address this. What do we mean by store bought?
That's not what I meant. Like I meant like that's why I started explaining. Like I meant like
Okay, you know
what if
how,
what if just part of it is store
you
bought?
know how you go to Walmart and you buy the like costumes in
Is
the
the
bag?
majority-
I know what you mean.
in the
Is
bag.
Is the majority of, if the majority of the costume is that type of costume, then it's store bought.
Okay, then no.
What part of your costume was store bought?
So you remember when I had that Spider-Man suit, and it had like muscles on it?
I have
I
no
think
idea what you're talking
I've
about.
worn that to
When
LARP
you were
before.
7?
Yeah, when I was like 8 or 7.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about though?
And that Woody costume?
No, I don't
No,
know.
you didn't have a Woody costume.
He did.
Oh, so it was you
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
did
you
that.
remember he was playing West at the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was.
And also, just so you know, I know we make jokes about, bringing up when you were 7 or 8, but North and I were having an in-game conversation today about if he had any children, and he brought up Little Horn. I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He's
Anyway,
got to claim you somewhere.
I have never done that, thankfully. Oh, that was loud.
All right.
Yeah, I've never done that.
I thought
Me
it was this
neither.
guy. He's over here.
I know. He's just banging on the table.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah,
Traveled out of state for a LARP event.
can't say I have.
Sadly
No.
not.
Me
I
neither.
would. I just haven't.
I actually was thinking for a minute, was SEMO out of state?
Mm.
I mean, Cape is like really close to Kentucky.
But it's Southeast Missouri.
Right.
SEMO.
It's
So.
literally in the name.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you weren't. You were not out of state.
correct.
Close.
So no.
But no.
All right, this one might be controversial. Never have I ever sloughed a hit on purpose?
I-
On purpose?
I
Mhm.
definitely don't want to answer this question because it's going to paint me in a bad light.
Look,
But I have definitely done that.
me too.
But
I
I
played when
have
was 8, though.
explanations as to why I did what I did.
Is it
Okay.
because the person sloughed a hit on you? And you were like, okay, I'm going to ignore their hit too.
Probably. Something to that effect, probably,
Mhm.
which is just the worst way of handling
Mhm.
things. I can't say that I've done it in a long time, but I've done it in the past for sure.
I can't think of a time that I consciously sloughed a hit.
Yeah. Well,
Like, I mean, if I didn't feel it, like that one that you hit me with when I was running.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'd say too if I didn't want to take it. Just say I didn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
that's what most of them say.
Wasn't that
feel that.
the actual question was, have you purposefully?
Yes,
Yeah,
I have
that was the question.
purposefully sloughed a hit before. So it is what it is.
I feel like I probably have. I can't remember a specific time, but I feel like I probably have over the 8 years or whatever. Like I've played the whole time, so.
Now this isn't on the list, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Does anybody here agree that that's okay to do?
No.
No.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
There's avenues that we have now in place that can help with that situation. If
Oh,
somebody's
okay.
sloughing a hit, including Daveen or whoever it is,
Mhm.
put it in the suggestion box and it's going to be handled.
And the problem with doing it, kind of like what you were saying, where you're doing it as a response to someone else sloughing a hit,
It
is if
escalates.
that person goes, and if that person goes and reports you, now you did it too.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
so like you were both in the wrong. You're both going to get reported for it and not be wrong.
Mhm.
Whereas if you just take the hit and be like, well, it sucks that they're sloughing hits, and then go report them, they can't say anything back about
That's
you
true.
retaliating in any way or whatever. So.
True.
All right,
So that was a little controversial.
A little.
it was
Mhm.
a little. I got one more. Never have I ever let someone else win on purpose.
I've done that a lot. So I have.
I have.
I've won like battle for the crowns for people and just been like, here's the crown, which I've now been told I'm not allowed to do because I ain't bound to nobody.
Not if they're not alive. You got to keep them
Yeah.
alive.
Could I just be like, yeah, I'm done with this,
So that
and
you
just like
can-
leave the battlefield? Like, do I
Yes.
have to?
But if they're not alive, you can't do it.
They have to be in the
they
battle
have
for
to
the
be
crown.
dead or bow to everyone left on the field alive.
So you mean they still have to be alive? They still have to be the last team alive.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know that I've come up
If
with
you're
a
gonna give it up-
scenario where I have given it to someone that died in the battle. It was
Yeah.
like
That's fair.
preemptively talked about where I was like, oh, Mercer was, let's say Mercer was the lord of another clan or a lady of another clan, and I said, hey, I don't really want it, but I want it to like go to the person that I want to have it. I would prefer to put the crown on your head.
Mm-hmm.
That person basically fights with me during Battle for the Crown, and afterwards I'm like, okay, well, here's the crown. That's what I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now I would have to be like, we're gonna step out. That's
Or
the only
just
difference.
kneel
Just
to
kill
'em.
everybody else.
Yeah, I don't wanna do
and
that.
then- Or just kill everybody else
I
and
mean,
then leave.
granted, if I feel like they're good enough to be king, though, I probably would. Like if I respect them enough to make them king
Or queen.
or
Mhm.
queen, whatever it is, I probably would kneel to them now.
I'm fine with that as long as we have a definitive place that when you step out, you're out.
Mm.
Well, I would even
But-
announce like I'm out. I'm out for
Mhm.
you know what I mean. But
Right.
yeah,
I just want to say that I've never let anyone win at anything. I didn't even let my kids win at Candyland. Okay, so if you beat me, you did it because you beat me.
fair enough.
You've never let your kids win Candyland?
No.
Yeesh.
I think I've probably let
listen.
people win.
Yeah, I think this is see what you're describing right now though, is like I've never like if I try, I win most of the time. So like
Okay.
I have to let people win sometimes, otherwise it's gonna be winning all of the time. I'm just
This
kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, but for real,
Whoa.
it's funny.
Yeah, even the dog thinks that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The dog thinks everything's ridiculous.
She is. Come here, Weiner.
So is that all the would you rather questions?
Yep, that's all I got.
I got one. Not
you
LARP
rather?
related. You got one?
Never
No.
have I ever, you mean?
Yeah.
No, that was a would you rather.
It's okay. We
Totally
can do a
different
would
game.
you rather. Go ahead.
But we have to like end your game first.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it ends.
That's
I win.
been Mercer's thing.
Woo!
Wow. Let's
I'm-
not do that again.
Cool.
To be fair, I don't have anything prepared.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought
This
you
one-
thought you just said you did.
I lied.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's fair.
Thanks for calling me out in front of
Would you rather?
How does this-
millions of people
would
that
you
watch our
rather
podcast.
Make something
Millions.
up or admit that you lied.
I admit that I lied.
Okay.
You all right over there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So did you want to talk about this idea you had for the whole like Transformers and Fast and Furious crossover, or are we just gonna like let people wonder what that was about?
I mean, I think that's enough. What you just said is fine. We'll just let them kind of wonder.
How that would work?
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to explain the scene again?
No.
It's that
Transformers and
particular
Fast and
scene.
Furious?
I think if people go and ask you about it, you should explain it. Like
Okay.
specifically, if they like go out of their way to come be like, "Oh, North, what was that? What was that thing? That crossover you had?" And
So
then you
you-
have to explain it.
You're saying Transformers and Fast and the Furious?
Yeah, crossover.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. They should take that.
Maybe you
Well,
could explain to him once we get off this podcast what your
Okay.
idea was.
All right. I'll do that. Okay.
So
We'll
you're-
just let the mystery simmer.
If you're really interested, then he can add the Guardians of the Galaxy in there too.
What?
That's a. Oh yeah. I mean, he had an addition to it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, we're not going to get into it. We're not. Gonna, that's a bad idea.
Okay. Anyway, so anybody got anything else?
The only issue that I'm having right now is I'm a little scared to go to the outro because I don't remember Chris's part.
I got it. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
So are we
gonna
ready?
do your normal part? Yeah.
Well, we hope you keep listening.
And we hope you keep fighting in the name of our capital, Darvishan.
And
We hope to see you all next week.
bye.
Bye.